Goalkeeper on the bench, it was no other than skipper Paul McCone to step up and play between the sticks, and hence the 3-0 win. Paul kept a clean sheet, and I'm pleased to say he's live with me on the phone this evening. Hi, Paul, you okay?
Yes, I'm all good, thank you. You all right?
Yes, good, thank you. First question then, how did you find playing in goal?
Well, it's definitely a bit strange, but believe it or not, it's not the first time I have been. A bit longer than I did previously, but I played once for Howells Owen for about 10-15 minutes in goal, a few years ago now, mind.
So when, of course, the injury to Jake, when it happened, were you the obvious natural like second choice?
It's been mentioned a few times, and to be honest, a few managers I've played for have always said if needs be, I'll go in, and I'm one to take the challenge. It's definitely a new challenge and a little bit stranger than playing centre-half, obviously. You have to kind of remember where the goal is, which was part of what you kind of lose track of your positioning. But no, luckily the lads in front of me did their job, which meant I didn't have to do too much myself.
Good. And, of course, I know the Royston physio helped with the support of Jake, and I think as well, you'll probably reiterate this, Paul, but it just shows, football comes aside for a second, doesn't it? And everyone kind of rushed to make sure Jake was okay.
Oh, 100%. And to be fair, it was good to see him after doing well. And like I said, the lads, unfortunately, was a stand around for 10, 15 minutes while whatever was going on, but we grouped together and got the win.
Yeah, and a very good one as well. Not doing too bad in the league, are you, Paul? Second in the league, only 1 point behind the leaders, Bedford Town. You must be, of course, a change in manager as well this season, but overall, you must be pretty happy with your league position.
Oh, 100%. We would have took it at the start of the year that we were just missed out last season, goal difference, I believe it was, and our aim this year was to go better. So at the moment, everything seems to be going the way that we planned.
And, of course, you're into your third season at the Bards. Enjoying your time?
100%. I've got 2 small children, and whilst probably they're 5 and 6 now, a little bit younger, they weren't really interested. But over the last probably 2 years, they've been to virtually every game, and it's probably spurred me on to play a little bit longer and a little bit more enjoyment. You spend a long time away from them playing part-time football, and if they're with me, it seems to be like they're part of it as well.
Oh, that sounds really nice, isn't it? It's great that your family, because like you mentioned, of course, there's big sacrifices that come in the non-league game, and it's really nice to see, your kids coming to watch you on most weeks. And, what is you mentioned that you want to try and keep playing for as long as you can. Have you thought about your end of your career, Paul? Are you looking at potentially going into coaching?
To be honest, I get asked the question a few times, and it's not one that's crossed my mind at the moment. Mainly because I don't want to not think about playing, if that makes sense. I'd rather concentrate on what I can do at the moment for as long as I can, and I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
The club have described you, Paul, as a no-nonsense centre-half. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, that's a polite way of putting it, I think. No, definitely. The art of defending seems to slowly be like fading out of the football, but no, it's one thing that I do pride myself on. And again, as a unit this year, I believe we've got one of the best defensive records in the league, and that just proves what it can do, of how far it's pushed us up the table.
Absolutely. You've had a good career yourself as well. A host of clubs you've played for, of course, Stratford where you are now. And, looking at, you mentioned where the season, of course, it being in fine form, of course, the change in manager as well, of course, Gavin Hurren leaving, Paul Davies taking that on. When that did happen, what was it like within the camp? Was it quite a surprise to you all?
Little bit, but in all fairness, not a lot had changed because Paul was part of us from the start of the season anyway. So it seems to go hand in hand that he just basically stepped up his role, did a little bit more than he probably did to start with Gav being the manager. But the lads stayed the same. We go out there, so once he's picked the team, it's us 11 or 16 that have to go out and perform on a match day. So not a lot changes. It's down to whether what us as probably senior players can drag the youngsters through, so it doesn't actually affect the way they play.
Absolutely, and you've got some a good mix of squad at Stratford, a good amount of, yourself, who's got, a shed load of experience, and then you've got the youngsters coming through as well. So I guess, a lot of the youngsters probably lean on you, don't they? As well as captain, and it comes with them responsibilities. You're passing on your expertise to the up-and-coming generation, yeah?
100%. Well, to be fair, like you said, we've got a fantastic mix for that. So as much as I might be the captain there's a few senior players that are also in the same realm as me. And the mix of them with the youth, at the moment, I don't want to jinx anything, but seems to be working very well for us.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you're the captain as well, comes, of course, with responsibilities. Something you relish as well, taking that armband on?
I've had it for many years now. Most clubs I've been at, I've been the skipper at various. So I wouldn't say it's any more responsibility or any less responsibility, but it seems to be that I have to kind of probably take a little bit more charge on the pitch. That doesn't take anything away from any other lads on the pitch, but it tends to be that I'm the one that you can always tend to hear his voice. Whether that's because I don't want to run around as much, that might be one of the reasons.
Well, you know what? People have got to do the dirty work, don't they? And the defenders, and of course she's coming in goal as well on the weekend. Of course hopefully you won't be back in goal on the weekend. Of course, Barwell is your next game. Of course, currently down the bottom as well. So I guess in form wise, of course you're second. They're 21st at the minute. They haven't won in their last 5. You've got to go into that pretty confident, yeah.
100%, but we have a thing in the league at the moment, as you can probably tell yourself. It's quite tight. It doesn't matter who you're playing if we have to turn up. As a game, it's probably a lot harder for us to turn up to a team that are lower down than us. But it won't change the way that we approach it. But we just have to make sure that we're on our game, and irrelevant of who we're playing, we have to concentrate on our own performances.
Yeah, you mentioned the league. It's so tight. Looking at it now, of course, as I mentioned in the introduction, but 1 point separating yourselves and Bedford currently. You've got AFC Telford, who's in the league position below you on the same points. You've got one more game on top of them, 2 games on Bedford. But you've even got Kettering Town, who are in 4th. Recent form's not being great for the Poppies, but, they've got 27 games. They've got 4 games in hand on Bedford. It's looking to and be a really, as a for the people that, not associated with all these clubs, it's going to look to a great end to the season.
Well, it just shows there that the points tallies you've just said, that there's no room for error.
I know.
We keep saying it throughout the group. I think there's 14 or 13 games left, and each one is as important. And then you get to the next one, and that's the most important game. Move on to the next one. And simplicity is we have to look after our own results. And as though there's teams in and around us, it's very close. We can't afford to slip up. But like I say, concentrate on our own performances, and hopefully we'll be there or thereabouts.
Yes, fingers crossed. It'd be great to see, the Bards in pushing up into the National League North. Paul, it's been great speaking to you. We wish you all the best on Saturday, and of course we wish you best for the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll catch up with different players from your clubs and etc. And best of luck for the rest of the season.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
No worries at all. That was Captain Paul McCone then from Stratford Town, of course second in the league at the minute at the Bards, and it's so tight up there as well. Like I mentioned, only 1 point separating them and Bedford Town. Them games in hand are going to be absolutely crucial for the Bards, and of course we'll follow them throughout the show on the Wednesday nights. We'll feature them every other week. Of course we'll have non-league reports sometimes on Saturday as well for Stratford, and of course we'll keep an eye on them, especially if they do get into the playoffs, because fingers crossed to them, because they could potentially be in the same league as Leamington next season. What a derby that would be.